Hello, I'm Stephen H. Iraula, and together with my group, we would like to present to you our thesis called Knowing the Reason of Becoming Independent to Drugs.
The issue of drug has been an issue for a very long time. As time passes, more and more variant of drug has been discovered due to advancement of technology. Some drugs have been beneficial to many, while some prove to detrimental to many abusers of these substances. That is why drug addiction has become a prevalent issue in our society due to ever-rising cases of reported drug-related activities. But another part of the problem that most people are unaware of is drug dependency. How does dependency work? What is the difference between an addicted individual to a dependent individual? How can we help solve this problem? Such questions have many more what we hope to be answered in this research, which in turn can help us solve this drug problem not only here in the Philippines but also in the whole world. Background of the study. Addiction and dependence can be difficult to understand and to differ from. In an article written by Georgens in 2021, he states that addiction is marked by a change in behavior caused by the biochemical change in the brain after continuous substance abuse. The substance then becomes the main priority of the subject, causing them to act irrationally and have hard time functioning when not in presence with the substance their system is addicted to. Dependence is a result of physical dependence on a substance with tolerance and withdrawal as it usually symptoms. Another article written by Denkin in 2020, people who are dependent on drug has been built tolerance for a specific substance, causing them to experience withdrawal if not using that specific drug. People who are addicted on drug tend to change behavior to their change in habit, which is a result of repeated substance misuse. A person can be dependent on drug while not being addicted to it. There are also two types of dependence: psychological and physical. Psychological dependency occurs when an individual uses the substance in response to specific triggers or stressful events such as going grocery shopping or meeting a certain person. When triggered, it creates when change in the brain that influence addictive behaviors. Physical dependency occurs when someone engage in a particular substance over a long period of time, which eventually make their body dependent on the substance. Cells and other essential systems start functioning differently. When the person stops intaking drug and the substance leaves the body, the withdrawal symptoms set in because the body has become used to chemical presence. Experiencing withdrawal system is often what fuels addiction.
Hello, my name is Lance, and I will be discussing the theoretical framework and the conceptual model of our study. So there are a lot of models we could have used, but we chose two types of models that we believe are the best ways into finding out the reasons for drug dependency. One is the social learning model. This model states that dependency is not purely focused on the chemicals but can be affected by our behavior and social interactions. It is based more on the user's thoughts about a substance and what it is like to be under the influence of the drug itself. This means that drug dependency is not just the results of the chemicals that are imbued in the drug itself, but drug dependency is the result of the psychological effects drugs can have on the individual themselves and the actions that the individual take in order for them to use said drugs that leads them to become drug dependent. Another model we want to lean on is the social-cultural model. This model looks at society as a whole and not just on the individual, meaning that drug dependency is not just the result of the chemicals in the drug itself and by the individual, but drug dependency is caused by the society that the individual lives in. Some factors in this model is that it recognizes that people who are inside or people that belong to groups who are culturally and socially disadvantaged are more likely to experience substance abuse problems. It also recognizes that society labels users of certain substances as deviant, thereby creating further problems. This means that in order for us to solve the problem of drug dependency, we must look into the society themselves and fix the problem within it. So while we believe that both of these models are great in their own way, if we put them together, then I believe this will further help us into finding the solution and learning more about the reasons for why drug dependency occurs, and potentially will help us solve the problem of drug dependency. For our conceptual model, we have here the input, which is the accumulated data about drug abuse and dependency that we have researched from books, articles, and studies. While the process is the pre-made set of questions that we have made, that we distributed among the students of Arellano University that are in the senior high school level. When put together, this becomes our output, which is the compiled information from the research that we have done and the data that we have acquired from the questionnaires.
Statement of the problem. The goal of this research is to analyze the reasons individuals become dependent on drugs. Through research in the aid of students from Arellano University by asking questions such as 1. How many students have acquaintances with drug users? 2. What are the opinion of students to the drug situation in the Philippines? 3. The number of students who was drug users reported near their vicinity or home. 4. The headspace of students when encountered with drug-related situations. Scope and limitations. We aim to gather the information from selected students from the Andres Bonifacio campus of Arellano University, situated in Ganyogan, Pasig, Metro Manila. The researchers conducted the study in the school year 2020 to 2021. The researchers decided to employ methods such as surveys and open-ended questions due to the limited data gathering methods available caused by the ongoing pandemic. The study is limited only of Arellano University who were grade 7 or higher. The research respondents are all residents of the Pasig City, are 18 years and above.
For our statistical treatment of data, we have here a chart of the age groups of students who responded to our questionnaire. Most of them are 17 years old, and we have here the sections of the students who responded to our questionnaire, which shows here that most of them were from GAS 2. Then we have here the answers that the respondents answered for our questionnaire. In question 1, most of them said that they know people that are acquainted with drugs, while some also don't know. Question 2, most of them said that they know a lot of drug users in their area. Question 3, most answers were due to anxiety and depression. Question 4, a lot of people are criticizing the government for their lack of progress in the drug war and the drug situation here in the Philippines. A lot of people said that they are scared for about they're scared of the drug situation here. In question 5, a lot of people said that they would help their friends personally through their own help, while others recommended or others said that they will recommend their friends to professional help such as rehabs and doctors.
Validation of instruments. This is to prove that the data gathering instruments for the research entitled Knowing the Reason of Becoming Independent to Drugs, which was conducted by Stephen Lance Iraula, Dwight Lewis M. Idloy, Jega de la Cruz, John William S. Lumbes, Rogelio M. Bihasa, and Steven Samiliano of Grade 11 Gastry, has been checked for content validation. The validation consists of survey questionnaires. First, they base on the statement of the problem to form the questionnaires. After the questions were validated by research advisor. The researchers distributed the questionnaire to random respondents. These questionnaires are a great technique for gathering opinions and data among these respondents, which in turn help the researchers understand, get a grasp of consensus of the Arellano University students regarding the topic of drug dependency.
Summary findings. First, based on our survey, drugs still play a big part in a society, particularly in the Philippines, with the individual reported currently engaging in drug-related activities. Number 2, most reasons for drug abuse and dependency are depression, anxiety, and stress. Number 3, the advances perception of the war of drugs is bad. Many individuals believe the drug situation in the Philippines getting worse with more increasing cases, and the process of perception of the war on drugs campaign that is helmed by the government and the president is negative. Based on the data we have gathered, most people nowadays consider that drug dependency is a result of illegal drugs, while not considering the possibilities of dependency from the result of medication. Drug dependency is mostly a result of the environment we live in, affecting the decision of many individuals that can possibly attract them to using these substances. I thought drugs dependence is a hard battle. It definitely can be won. With the enough attention and research given the drug dependency, we could lessen the amount of people being in touch. Recommendation. Based on the conclusion or the finding of this study, we have the following recommendation. Number 1, the government should stop the killing that is the result of the war on drugs. Instead, they should focus more on a rehabilitation of this drugs user and create more awareness for drugs-related issues. Number 2, school and media companies should use awareness on issue regarding drugs-related issues, as the youth are usually influenced by these two instead. And the last, the future researcher should focus more on experimental studies to better understand the effect of various way of treatment for recovering drugs users.